Hi, fifth grade. Welcome to Music Online Week 2. Thank you for the handful of you that did your assignments last week. If you are just getting on this week, basically go back, do the assignment. You watch the video, and in the video somewhere, I give the assignment to you guys. I know we sang a song last week. This week, we are going to learn about Aaron Copland. Aaron Copland is a modern contemporary artist. He is a composer that does music that basically can break the rules. So the thing about contemporary music, like when you're learning about music theory and how to write music, there's all these rules you have to follow, like no parallel fifths, make sure you do this, make sure you do this. Well, modern music, instead of being like, you can't do that, they're like, we can't do that. Why can't we do that? We're just gonna do it anyway. So, not all of his music was like that. His isn't as crazy as like Schoenberg and things like that. But one of his most popular pieces is Fanfare for the Common Man, which is used in lots of like epic movie scenes. And I'll post that one for you guys to listen to. Alright, so I'm gonna read you this book. I'm just gonna try to stay as close as I can and show you pictures. Let me see if that helps. That helps a little bit. Okay, so Aaron Copland. The front says, okay, partners, you ready for some great cowboy music? The reason I love these books is, one, they're very inexpensive, but two, they're really funny. There's like little funny things in them. Alright, so I'm just going to show you the pictures as I read it because I'm not going to try to do the weird, like, looking up. Well, no, I'll try. Okay. Aaron Copland was one of America's greatest composers. He was born in 1900, right at the beginning of a new century and the age of modern times. Aaron not only loved to write music, he also loved teaching people how to enjoy it as well. So there he is at his piano. This is in 1956, so he would have been 56 years old. I don't think I've read this one yet, guys. Aaron Copland's best-known music sounds crisp and clear and simple. It often gives you a feeling of being out west at an exciting rodeo or in a wide open space, or in a peaceful countryside. Some people have a hard time figuring out how Aaron Copland was able to write music like this since he spent most of his life in a big city. Aaron didn't think it was necessary to live in the places he wrote music about, and with his great imagination, he could just picture himself being there. And this says, wow, isn't that a great sunset over the canyon? I think as soon as this herd of buffalo passes, I'll go write some cowboy music. Obviously, he's not anywhere where there's buffaloes. Okay. Aaron grew up in a busy Brooklyn, New York. He had two older brothers and two older sisters. His parents owned a big department store. The whole family helped out there. Even when he was young, Aaron helped out by working as a salesman in the toy department. This says, take it from me, folks. The little fellow will find endless hours of enjoyment with that toy. I speak from experience. Aaron Copland started showing up an interest in music when he was about 7. He spent hours listening to music on his cousin's phonograph, which was the new invention of the time. This says, where's Aaron? It's time to go home. Aaron also started pestering his sister Lorene whenever she practiced the piano. He finally got her to give him some lessons, and he started to make up his own songs right away. When he was a teenager, he persuaded his parents to send him to a real teacher. This says, teach me to play, please, please, please. Mother, Aaron is driving me crazy again. Mr. and Mrs. Copland agreed to pay for Aaron's lessons as long as he found his own teacher. The Coplands thought it was important to give their children the responsibility and the best opportunities. Both of Aaron's parents had come to America from Russia at a time when many people in Russia were homeless and had no money. Aaron's father often reminded his children of what a great country the United States was and how lucky they were to be there. Aaron always remembered what his father said, especially when he began to write his most famous music. So there's his parents, Harris and Sarah Copland, in front of their department store. At the beginning of the 20th century, when Aaron Copland was growing up, people in America were just getting used to modern life. There was all kinds of inventions. Hello, darn it, this phone isn't working again. For heaven's sake, Herb, that's an electric lamp. The phone is over here. Artists and writers were trying out modern ideas too, and it seemed everything was becoming new and exciting. Everything except America's classical music. So here's a picture. This is the Battle of the Lights, Coney Island Mardi Gras by Joseph Stella. And this is Abstraction on Spectrum, Organization Number 5 by MacDonald Wright. So as you can see, stuff began to get a little crazy, and it wasn't just the Mona Lisa anymore. All right. So, classical music. Classical music lovers in America seem satisfied listening to music that had been written years before by great European composers like Mozart, Beethoven, and Bach. This is Mozart, and it says, so Beethoven, Chopin, what's new? And this says, Beethoven says nothing, Mozart, Chopin, just the same old thing. Aaron learned about and respected these composers, but he felt it was important to learn about American music and modern composers too. Super true. You need to know where you came from when it comes to music, but you also need to be looking at more modern people as well. It's really important to know where you came from so you can understand where you're going and where you are right now. When Aaron was 20 years old, he got a chance to study in Paris. Paris was the modern music center of the world, and Aaron's teacher was Nadia Boulanger, one of the most best composition teachers of the 20th century. This woman, I remember reading about her in college, absolutely amazing. Like, all the good people studied under her. Many of her students went out to become famous composers. Aaron was very excited, and he started learning about modern composers like Igor Stravinsky and Maurice Ravel. These composers weren't afraid to try new and different things, and they often shocked people with musical sounds that had never been heard before. This is a watercolor sketch by Ravel of Ravel's ballet Daphnis and Chloe. So, Stravinsky, one of the crazy things that he wrote was actually called Stravinsky's Rite of Spring. If you have seen Fantasia, the original one from the 50s, and then you have like the scene with like the dinosaurs and the meteor and all that, that's actually Stravinsky's Rite of Spring. So when he wrote that music, the thing was this music would be written and then you'd have only like a couple days of rehearsing with an orchestra. So the orchestra had the conductor, not Stravinsky, who conducted, had so much trouble that, like, they almost didn't perform the piece. And basically, when people heard it, like, half the orchestra hated playing it. They didn't know what they were doing. Basically, there was, like, a riot, like, because people either thought it was the best thing ever, or people were, like, hated it and, like, were, like, revolting. It was crazy. So, while he was studying in Paris, Aaron sometimes traveled and took time off with his friends to go to different countries. On one trip, he noticed wherever he went, musicians were playing a lively kind of music called jazz. Even though jazz had been invented in America, it was becoming very popular in Europe, and since Aaron was interested in writing American-sounding music, he thought it might be a good idea to add some jazz sounds to his music, his modern classical music he was starting to write. So this is a painting by Archibald John Martley Jr. called Blues. The music Aaron came up with was very original. Nadia Boulanger liked it a lot and asked Aaron to play it for some of her important friends. One of those friends was Sergei Kusavinsky, the new music conductor of the Boston Symphony Orchestra. Mr. Kusavinsky liked Aaron's music too and agreed to play one of his new pieces as a concert. Alright, so as a composer of classical music or modern classical, getting your music played at the BSO, the Boston Symphony Orchestra, huge. When Aaron's Symphony for the Organ and Orchestra was played, a lot of people didn't like it and some of them booed. They probably, this is Sergei right there. They probably didn't even care for the modern sound, especially the jazzy parts. At the time, Aaron Copland didn't really mind if people disliked his music. He knew it might take a while for people to get used to it because it sounded so different from music they'd heard before. This upstairs says, Mr. Kavinsky, they seem to like it a lot better than yesterday's audience, and you see that they're all booing and hissing and throwing stuff and tomatoes at him. Aaron kept adding jazz rhythms and experimenting with other sounds to make his music as original and modern as possible, and for a while his music became more and more complicated. Sometimes even musicians in the orchestra found it too hard almost to play. Aaron started to notice that only the people who were serious about music were able to understand and appreciate his music. This wasn't what he wanted at all, and Aaron Copland wanted everyone in America to be able to enjoy his music. This says, Mr. Copland, some of us are having trouble with your music. So Aaron, studying under Nadia Boulanger, he obviously was a very competent composer, and he was he was able to write those intricate things, and he did, but his big thing is he wanted classical music to be accessible to everybody. So he was like, okay, I need to take a step back, do some Marie Kondo, or is it Kondo? Marie Kondo, you guys can let me know, and minimalize. So he did. So, right around this time, Aaron got a chance to visit Mexico. He noticed that music was much more a part of the people's lives in Mexico than it was in the United States. This is Baile in Tehuantepec by a Mexican artist, Diego Rivera. Aaron heard people playing guitars and singing and saw people dancing wherever he went. Once, when he went to a large dance hall, Aaron became so excited by the joyful, fast-paced music being played that he decided to write a piece about Mexico. Aaron took bits and pieces of Mexican folk tunes and put them together with his own music. Aaron called his new piece El Solón Mexico. When you listen to it, it's easy to imagine the people and the beautiful countryside of Mexico. So, when El Solón Mexico was played, it gave people a happy feeling, and it was a very popular piece. Aaron realized that he was on the right track to writing music that more people would enjoy, and in 1938, Aaron was asked to write some music for a ballet about the legendary Wild West outlaw Billy the Kid. There he is, William H. Bonney, Billy the Kid. Pretty cool story. I mean, he was a train robber, you know. So this is actually a scene from the ballet Billy the Kid as performed by the Dance Theater in Harlem. So Aaron had always loved stories about the Old West, and he thought he would write Billy the Kid in the same way that he wrote El Solón Mexico. But instead of using parts of Mexican folk songs, Aaron used American folk songs in his piece, which is a good idea to make it how people would enjoy it because people would know those folk songs. In Billy the Kid, you can hear familiar folk songs like Get Along Little Doggies and Bury Me Not on the Lone Prairie. People liked hearing parts of the songs they had known and listened to while growing up, and at that time, people in America were worried. There was something going on called the Great Depression, which caused many Americans to lose their jobs and savings and become poor. It also looks like America was about to get into a serious war that had started in Europe. Artists, writers, and composers began looking around at the everyday things that made America great. They put what they saw and heard into music, paintings, and books. Their works gave people a feeling of comfort and hope and helped them make them proud of their country. So this is called Cradling Wheat by Thomas Hart Benton. One of the things about the United States, the breadbasket in the Midwest. Aaron Copland went on to compose many famous pieces, including Fanfare for the Common Man, part of his Third Symphony, and the ballets Rodeo, and Appalachian Spring. Even though he used parts of American hymns and American cowboy, riverboat, and railroad songs, Aaron combined them with his own music to come up with a very special, exciting, and beautiful all-American sound. Here is a scene from Rodeo. Here is a scene from Appalachian Springs. Aaron went on to Hollywood for a while and wrote music for movies. He even won an Academy Award for the music for a movie called The Heiress. Aaron Copland lived to be 90 years old, and as he grew older, he spent less time writing and more time conducting music and teaching. Aaron Copland told his students to always be original and experiment with their music and to make music that was part of the modern times. So here's Aaron composing music. He would watch the film on a moviola and then write music for it, and there he is conducting a rehearsal of the Boston Symphony Orchestra in 1980. So where he got his start, he started teaching. Now, although Aaron Copland was very busy, he always found time to help out young composers, and he worked hard to put on concerts so that many people could learn to enjoy music. He also wrote music that was just for high school students to play in their band and orchestras. Today, Aaron Copland's music is as popular as ever, so it's easy to find on the radio. There are probably recordings of his music, too. You can probably check out compact disc, which are CDs. You can tell how old these books are because it says tapes. CDs or YouTube for Aaron Copland's music. All right, so that is about Aaron Copland. You are welcome to ask me questions about Aaron Copland. You are also welcome to just email me or ask me to call you and chit-chat with you, you know? So, here's your assignment. It's a 2-part assignment. Part 1, you are going to listen to, and I will post it for you, Fanfare for the Common Man by Aaron Copland. It's about 4 minutes long, not too bad. And you're going to tell me what you think. Just like 2 sentences is good. But then I want you to listen to a song that you like and draw a picture of how it makes you feel. Pretty easy assignment, guys. I really just want you, having time to do stuff with your family and, I know that some of the other teachers are giving like a ton of work, so I'm trying to keep it pretty chill and give you easy stuff like, listen to your song and draw a picture. You get to draw a picture. Miss Canfield would probably love to have you to post it on her page too, on the Google Classroom. So just if you do that, make sure you tell her put what song. Like if you do Once Upon a Dream, make sure you write that at the top so that she knows what song you used, and she would probably think that's pretty cool. All right, guys. So I am here if you need me. I'm gonna go for now. Bye. See you next week.